Sometimes I wonder, when was the last time you were truly still? No phone, no noise, no thoughts, just you and God. We talk so much about self-discovery, energy, healing, but no one talks about the one thing that truly holds everything together: your relationship with yourself and God. I realized something over the time. When your connection with God is weak, every other relationship in your life starts to fall apart. For example, friendships, love, family, all of it. And the older I get, the more I understand why. Hey everyone, my name is Sai. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Here I don't just give advice, I share thoughts that might wake something inside you. You can subscribe and start becoming the best version of yourself, and maybe to understand yourself better. Or you can scroll away and stay the same. You know, the choice is yours. We live in a world that analyzes everything. We can explain every thought, label every feeling, and rationalize every action. But we rarely ask ourselves the simplest question: where is God in my life? Back then, the heart was like our compass. Now it's the algorithm. We let trends guide us more than true. We let screens tell us what to want, what to feel, what to chase. But your heart, it already knows. It knows when you are drifting away. It knows when you are pretending. It knows when something feels off, no matter how perfect it looks. You know, and that quiet restlessness inside you, that's not depression. That's distance. Distance from the one who made you. There are a lot of people who say, I believe in God, but in my own way. But think about it. That's like saying, I love someone, but only when they do what I want. You understand? That's not love. That's control. And honestly, I think that's the disease of this generation. We want connection without commitment, faith without obedience, freedom without responsibility, and then we wonder why everything feels so empty. I learned something the hard way. When you don't put God at the center of your life, you'll end up putting something else there. Success, people, yourself, and whatever you place there will eventually break you. Because when you remove God from the center, your ego takes its place. And the ego, oh, trust me, the ego wants everything. Validation, attention, power, control, all that what you can imagine. But it can't give you peace. Never. And that's when people start worshipping themselves. Not consciously, but through their priorities. They worship their desire, their emotions, their fears. They live for likes, for recognition, for the illusion of being enough. And the higher they climb, the emptier they feel. Because nothing feels you like the presence of God. Don't understand me now wrong, okay? People run to therapy, and therapy is good, but sometimes you don't need therapy. You need silence, you need prayer, a real one. Not words you repeat automatically, but a conversation, an honest one. Like when you were a child and simply said, God, help me. No explanations, no expectations, just true. Most people have forgotten what that feels like. To speak to God without asking for anything, just to be near Him, to feel seen. You know, we talk to everyone about everything, but not to the one who understands us the most. And the sad part, we think He is far away, but He was never far. We were. We only look for Him when things go wrong. But the heart needs God every single day, not just in pain but in peace, because success without gratitude is just a beautiful form of emptiness. You know it. I've seen people lose everything and still have peace. So crazy. And I've seen people have everything and still feel broken. For example, all the stars, or better, the most of them. The difference was never luck. It was connection. When you know God, you stop pretending, you stop performing, you stop trying to prove your worth to the world. Because you already know you are enough. You are seen, even when you can't see yourself. And that's where it all begins. Not with new goals, not with new people, not with more motivation, but with coming back. Back to God, back to yourself, back to the true you always known but forgot, because the world got too loud. Think about the following one. When your connection with God is weak, you eventually lose the connection with yourself too, because you stop feeling, you stop listening, you stop being you. And there are a lot of people who talk so much trash, They say, or they talk about self-awareness, about knowing who they are, about finding purpose. But tell me, how can you find yourself if you have been running from yourself your entire life? I've met people who know everything about themselves, their personality type, their strength, their weaknesses, their zodiac sign, their dreams, their goals. But if you ask them, hey, how are you really? They just, they go silent. Because they don't know. I think the problem is we live in a generation that thinks too much and feels too little. We analyze everything but understand nothing. We say we want to heal, but we are afraid to be honest. And that's why so many people feel lost, because when you don't know yourself, you keep walking into the same pain, the same patterns, the same heartbreak, over and over and over again. Not because you are stupid, but because you are searching for something you refuse to give yourself. Love, validation, safety. But tell me, how can you expect someone to love you if you can't even sit with yourself in silence? How can you trust anyone if you don't even trust your own voice? How can you expect peace if you keep running from your truth? Sometimes you don't need a new relationship, a new job, a new city. I think you just need you. You without fear. You as you truly are. But that's the hardest thing, isn't it? To face yourself. Because facing yourself means admitting what's real. And the truth is not always pretty. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it shows you that you have been living a life that was never even yours. But hey, that's okay. Because that's where healing begins. Not when you are better, not when you are honest. Healing begins when you stop pretending and finally say, this is me, this is where I am, and that's okay. I used to think the worst thing in life was losing yourself, but the real tragedy is forgetting yourself and not even noticing. I'm not that nice guru telling you it's all gonna be fine, let it like it is, and blah blah, all that trash, No, I'll be fine when you make it fine, because your life literally lies in God's hands. So trust Him and trust yourself. No one is coming to save you. No one will save you. Not your mother, not your partner, not your kids, not your friends. No one. Except you with the help of God. So you want your life to change? Then you have to change. Your mindset, your direction, your entire way of living. We live in a world full of noise. We post, we talk, and we move, we work, but deep down, most people are empty. You can see it on the streets, on their faces. They are surrounded by others, yet feel completely alone. Because no one can truly see you if you don't see yourself first. If you keep changing to be accepted, you'll never be loved for who you are. And one day you will wake up and realize you have everything you ever wanted except yourself. That moment of emptiness you feel, that's not the end, that's your beginning. Because in that silence, you finally hear your real voice again. Not the one that tries to impress, not the one that's scared to be judged. That's one that's raw, honest, real. The voice you had as a child, before the world told you who to be. That voice is still there inside you, waiting for you to listen. And when you start listening, you start remembering. You remember what peace feels like. And you remember who you were before you started doubting yourself. That's self-love. Not the fake one you see online. Not the positive affirmations and bubble baths. Real self-love is quiet. It's saying I'm not perfect, but I'm growing. I've made mistakes, but I'm learning. You have to accept yourself, but also see your flaws and work on them. Okay? Every day, try to be just a little better than yesterday. In goodness, in discipline, in mindset, step by step, in your own tempo. So if you ask me what my perfect life would be, without chasing to be better than yesterday in my own pace, easy. Go back home, live with my mom, depend on her money, stay in my room, delete every social media account, because I hate attention anyway. Just stay there, playing computer games, safe, comfortable, that's it. But you know, that version of me goes nowhere. So I work with myself to become someone who wants to grow, someone confident, someone who uses his platform, someone who chases his goals, who gets up, goes to the gym, doesn't care if he feels like it or not, he just does it. So now I train. Every morning when I don't want to move, I ask myself, what would my higher self do right now? He gets up, he thanks God for another day, he breathes, says, this day is blessed, let's conquer it. He puts on his shoes and moves, that's discipline, that's faith in action. Even when I eat, I ask the same question. You know I love chocolate, and I crave a sweet drink after every meal. But both destroy more than my skin. They poison my health, they cloud my mind, they kill my energy, slowly. So the higher version of me, he doesn't touch them. He drinks green tea, or homemade blend, pure, clean, healing. He cares about eating healthy, not in an extreme way, but step by step, improving in his own tempo. Because he knows clarity, strength, and beauty are born from control. Every small decision builds or breaks your future. Each choice is a brushstroke on the painting of who you are becoming. Don't forget it. You know God gave you a mind. He gave you abilities, talents. Find them and work on them. Do you know how many people out there would give everything to have your health, your strength, your mind? People who could move mountains with what you take for granted. But they can't. Because they are limited by illness, by pain, by circumstances. So if you have it, use it. And if you don't, accept it. Because you are also carry something beautiful inside you. Find it, grow it. That's your gift. You know, there's another thing. Reading, same thing. I hate reading. My focus is trash. But the higher version of me reads. Because he knows knowledge is a weapon. The more you know, the more power you hold. So, when you truly understand yourself, you stop punishing yourself. You stop fighting against who you are. And instead, you start leading yourself. Not from ego, but from awareness, from love, from peace. When you lose your connection with God, you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you lose the ability to truly connect with others. So that's why so many relationships today don't last. Not because people don't love each other, but because they don't know themselves. And you can't build something real on a foundation that's lost. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't love someone when your heart is starving for love itself. You know what the problem is? Most people don't enter relationships to give. They enter to get love, to get validation, to get healed, and then they break. Because no human being can fix what's broken inside you. You know, people are not medicine. They are mirrors. They reflect the parts of you that you refuse to face. And your fears, your insecurities, your unhealed wounds. And the more you resist them, the louder they get, until you finally look within and realize it was never about them, it was always about you. Some people come into your life to stay. Others come to change you, and some come to wake you up. Not every person who hurts you is a villain. Sometimes they are your greatest lesson. Trust me, because pain teaches clarity, and loss teaches strength. You can't learn love without heartbreak. You can't understand peace without chaos. You can't grow without discomfort. And yes, it hurts, but that's how you evolve. The truth is, most people don't want love. They want attachment. They want control. They want someone to make them feel okay, because they can't do it themselves. But real love, it doesn't come from need. It comes from overflow. It comes from fullness. When you truly love yourself, you stop chasing people. You stop begging for attention. You stop fighting to be seen, because you already are seen by God, by yourself, by your truth. Then love becomes peaceful, not chaotic, not confusing, not a constant test of your worth, just peaceful. When you find that kind of peace within you, you no longer seek love to complete you. You seek it to share you. You don't cling anymore. You don't force. You let flow. Because if someone is meant to stay, they will stay. And if they meant to leave, you let them. Not out of pride, but out of trust. And that's what true strength is. It's not holding on. It's knowing when to let go. You start realizing that love is not about ownership. It's not about mine. It's about respect. It's about freedom. It's about seeing another soul and saying, I want you to grow, even if it's not with me. When you reach that point, you no longer attract chaos. You attract peace. You know why? Because the way you love yourself teaches others how to love you. So stop shrinking. Stop apologizing for your standards. Stop dimming your light to be accepted. If someone doesn't recognize your worth, they were never meant to sit at your table. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. It tells the world, I know what I deserve. Sometimes letting go is not rejection. It's redirection. It's God's way of saying, this isn't love. This was a lesson. And one day, you look back and understand why certain people couldn't stay. Because their role in your story was to help you find a version of you that finally could. Sometimes I look around and think, what happened to us? We live in a world that's always moving, always rushing, always wanting more. But no one ever stops to ask more of what? We call it progress. But somehow we've never felt more lost. We have more technology, but less connection. More knowledge, but less wisdom. More comfort, but less peace. What's that? How can we say we want freedom? We say we want freedom, but we've become slaves to noise. We scroll to escape our thoughts. We work to escape our emotions, and we talk just to avoid silence. Because silence scares us. In silence you meet yourself. In silence you meet God. And the truth is, most people don't want to meet either. We've built a society that tells you to love yourself, but only if you are beautiful. To follow your dreams, but only if they make money. To be yourself, but only if the world approves of who that is. Look around. Everything is filtered. Everything is for show. Even pain has become content. We live in a time where people would rather look happy than be happy. Where being real feels like rebellion. But here's the truth. You can't heal in a world that profits from your insecurity. You can't find peace in a system built to keep you distracted. You know, people ask me, Zai, what should I do with my life? What's my purpose? I can't answer that for you. I've talked to people in my circle and most of them want to stay comfortable. They live their days on repeat. No ambition, no purpose, just survival disguised as peace. And that's okay. It's fine. Some people just need more time. Time to see beyond comfort. Time to wake up from the illusion of safety. Take that time. Think about yourself. Think about God. Think about this world and where you truly stand in it. You know, because once you open your eyes, there's no going back. You know why? If you choose to stand in front of the world, you must be ready for swords made of words, for tongues that cut deeper than steel. And I'm not saying abandon the world. I'm saying see through it. Wake up. Stop letting it own you. Because the world will keep feeding you ego. You see it. Likes, followers, validation, because the more you need, the less you question it. But once you stop chasing approval, you start remembering who you are. And when you remember who you are, the world loses its power over you. That's when you start living differently. You stop competing, you stop comparing, you stop rushing, you start being. Because peace doesn't come from having more. It comes from needing less. It comes from simplicity, from gratitude, from truth. You were not born to blend in. You were not born to be perfect. You were born to wake up, to see the world for what it is, loud, tempting, temporary, and still choose depth over noise. You were born to bring light to a place that keeps getting darker, and that starts with awareness. The key is, when you slow down, when you detach from the chaos, you start noticing things again. The sound of your breath, the peace and silence, the beauty in small moments. That's when you realize life was never meant to be this complicated. We made it that way. You know, we forgot that peace isn't something you find, it's something you remember. So no, you don't need to escape the world. You just need to stop being consumed by it. You just need to be awake, aware, present. Because once you learn how to live with awareness, you see the world differently. You stop fighting it, you stop fearing it, you start flowing with it. And that's where freedom begins, not outside of you, but within you. Pain changes you, it always does. But it's not meant to destroy you, it's meant to wake you up. Every heartbreak, every loss, every disappointment, it all happens for a reason. And I'm sure because pain is a teacher. And the lessons it gives, you can't learn from comfort. I want to tell you something about me, to understand what I want to tell you. So, there was a time I had nothing. 4 years locked in my room. I hated myself. I hated everyone. I gave up on everything. My job, my studies, my future. That was my life for a long time. My family and friends saw the chaos inside me. But they couldn't help. So they gave me a gift. They sent me away to Southeast Asia. For 1 year, I lived and studied there. A different world, different faces, different silence. I thought distance would heal me. But pain travels with you. It hides in your chest, no matter where you go. Those thoughts followed me. The disappointment in myself, the feeling of being useless, all the mistakes I made, my childhood, the memories I tried to bury, the people who bullied me, their words still echoing in my head, and the heartbreak from the person I loved so deeply, the one who couldn't understand me and walked away. The thoughts about the world, how it keeps whispering, you have to be rich, you have to be fast, you have to win. Everywhere you look, chaos, wars, fear, noise, the past chasing you, the future pulling you, everything speeding up, and you are told you have to keep up. So I broke down. Anger, emotions, outbursts, all the negative thoughts screaming at once. So one day, when the noise in my head got too loud, I just walked. No destination, no plan, just me and my thoughts. I walked through the city for hours until I realized I had gone too far from my apartment. The streets were quiet, the air was heavy, and then I saw it, a small mosque, its doors still open. I stepped inside, seeking rest, no answers, but destiny doesn't ask for permission. Inside I met a man, an old man who spoke little, but his eyes saw everything. We talked for hours, about God, about life, about how pain can purify the soul if you let it. Before I left, he said something I had once heard long ago, but forgotten. Don't lose hope, nor be sad. Then he said, when the wave realizes it is the ocean, it stops fighting the tide. He looked at me and said, you are not broken, you are just fighting what you were meant to become. Those words didn't cut, they freed me. I went home. Outside the night was wild. Heavy rain, thunder, the kind of storm that makes the world feel alive. I lived in an apartment high above the city, where you could see every light flicker in the distance. Before I went to sleep, I lit a candle, turned off the lights, sat down on the floor, right in front of the window facing the city, and myself in reflection of the glass. I saw something I had never truly seen before. For the first time, I saw what I had become. Not a victim, but the victim of my own mind, of my negativity, my hopelessness, my pessimism. That night, something in me died, and something new was born. I started small, walks outside, 10,000 steps a day, oatmeal for breakfast, podcasts, silence, reading. I didn't just listen, I absorbed. And then I prayed, not like before, not just words, real talk from the heart. I told God, I'm lost, but I know there is something inside me, something you placed there. Show it to me. I trust you. Don't let me drown in myself. Guide me back to whom I meant to be. Forgive me. I was unjust. I forgot myself and I forgot you. That was the first time I felt peace, not comfort, peace. Since then, I don't beg for what I want. I ask once, clearly, and let it go. Because if it's mine, it will come. Sometimes money appeared from nowhere. Sometimes people came into my life at the exact moment I needed them. It's crazy. That's when I realized God doesn't ignore you. You just don't listen. He sends signs, He sends people, but you keep saying I'll do it alone. And then you ask, why doesn't He help me? He did. You just rejected the hand He sent. All my life I tried to control everything, every outcome, every person, every heartbeat. Maybe that's what broke me. Control was just fear wearing armor, and fear always cracks. I grew up powerless, so when I became a man, I tried to hold the world in my hands. But the tighter I held it, the faster it slipped away. Then one day, I stopped fighting, I stopped forcing, I whispered, God, I've done my part, now you lead. And for the first time, the storm inside me grew quiet. That's when I learned faith isn't weakness, it's discipline. To move when you can, and to surrender when you must. Like water, soft but unstoppable. It doesn't fight the mountain, it carves through it. When I gave up control, things began to align. Slowly, quietly, perfectly. If someone leaves, I let them go. If something stays, I give thanks. Because I've learned what's meant for me will never need to be forced. You see, everyone wants growth, but no one wants to be uncomfortable. We want healing, but we don't want to bleed. We want peace, but we run from the silence that brings it. The truth is you can't heal if you keep avoiding what hurt you. You have to face it. You have to sit with it. You have to let it break you open so light can finally come in. I know it's hard. I know it feels unfair. But those moments that almost destroy you, they are the same ones that reveal who you really are. Because pain strips away everything that's fake. It exposes your illusion. It humbles your ego. It reminds you you are human. And when you have nothing left to hold on to, you finally realize what truly holds you. That's when you stop running from God. That's when you stop pretending to be strong. That's when you fall and realize even in your fall, you are carried. There's another point. Healing doesn't mean you will never hurt again. It means the pain no longer controls you. It means you can look at what broke you and still be grateful. Not because it was easy, but because it grew you. Sometimes God breaks your heart to save your soul. He removes people you thought you couldn't live without, so you can learn to live with Him again. He closes doors, because what's behind them is smaller than what He has planned for you. But let's be real, not every closed door is some divine miracle wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it was your mistake. Maybe you were the reason it ended. But even that has a purpose. So accept it, learn from and grow. Because maybe you were the lesson someone else needed to grow. And I know it's hard to trust that when you're standing in the middle of the storm. But one day you look back and understand why it all happens this way. Because without darkness, you wouldn't recognize light. Without loss, you wouldn't appreciate presence. Without pain, you wouldn't know peace. Your suffering is not meaningless. It's sacred. It's a place where transformations begin. Because when you surrender your pain to God, it doesn't disappear. It transforms. It becomes wisdom. It becomes purpose. It becomes strength. You start realizing that every scar tells a story, not of weakness, but of survival, not of defeat, but of faith. So stop hating the parts of you that hurt. Stop hiding your past. Stop wishing it never happened. Because without it, you wouldn't be who you are right now. More aware, more grounded, more you. Healing isn't about going back to who you used to be. It's about remembering who you were before the world made you forget. It's about returning to truth, to peace, to God. Trust me. And once you reach that point, you realize something powerful. You never really lost yourself. You were just buried under everything that wasn't you. And maybe that's what pain was trying to do all along, to bring you home. Thank you for watching, guys. It was a lot to say, but if it helped even one person out there, it was worth it. And English isn't my first language, so excuse any little mistakes here and there. And this was my first video, so let me know what you think, if you liked it or not. And thank you for listening, guys.